What's up, guys? It's Charles here with Rocket Punch Army to bring you another KO vs Takara comparison. And today we have none other than the Lambor G2 version, which is the MP-12G from the Transformers Masterpiece line of figures. There's already a few other mold brothers out there: Tiger Track, Sideswipe, and Red Alert. So this is the newest one, which is based on the G2 version of Lambor. We're going to start off by showing you here on the left side is where the KO will be, and on the right side is where the Takara will be. Now you'll see the boxes look identical from this perspective. It's not until we get close that we see very slight differences, nothing crazy. But here's the KO again. It follows the same design and everything as a Takara. It's basically an identical copy. I'm not going to get into microscopic details like maybe font differences. I don't really see them, but I'm not going to look for that, guys. I get a little bit too crazy sometimes with comparisons. We're going to try and keep it as simple as possible. But right off the bat, this also has the gloss here with the matte background, just as you would find in the Takara. However, this version I got, it seems like they didn't screen it well enough here, which is it's the first time I've seen it in any of the KOs. They've always had really nice screening, but apparently this one, whoever glossed it up just ran out just right there. And as we turn it around, we are going to see that the back is also exactly the same. It doesn't seem like this is more faded than this, just looking at it like that. It looks like they did a really good job, although the details on the car are a little bit clearer to see on the Takara. And maybe the reds here on the window seem to be a little stronger than that of the KO. The bottom of the box, we do have the hologram. Alright, let's take a look at the holograms here. They both do that rainbowy thing. Alright, so it's that alone is not going to really tell you if it's official or not. Although on the Takara, which I'll put on top here, it does have like a very light faded font here for the serial number or whatever that is. The one on the KO is black and dark and very easy to read, and they do share the same stamps that are set right here in the box. So these are the things those looking for, trying not to get ripped off, might want to look for. So again, light gray on the real one, kind of faded on mine at least, and dark black fonts for the KO version. But just looking at the holograms alone is not going to be the best thing for you. One thing I did note, at least on the side here, you are able to see the outline of the Lamborghini a lot better on the Takara one. It's actually like a very slight line going around, like a little bit of light shining around it. This one, pretty much completely black here underneath, especially underneath. You don't really see detail underneath, but here you do. So that's another telltale sign from the box alone. We're going to go ahead and open the box so we can check out the figure now that we've seen the box. What the hell did I open this? Here we go. Alright. No surprises here, guys, if you've watched all my KO videos. It's the same thing. You're going to get the same kind of tray with the same numbers down here, the whole recycle thing. You get the little baggie with the instruction booklet, full color. And you also get the spec card. Alright, so there's a spec card, nice and glossy cardboard. Although I have to say, they did at least on this one, the printing on here, or at least the scanning, is really bad. This is telltale sign, a sure way to know that it's a KO. Although the whole printing process sometimes is not perfect for many things, but I'm pretty sure the original is much better in this respect. But here it does look really scanned. Now, the front does look a little bit better. Alright, and just let you check that out for a second longer. Right, and we'll go ahead and take a look at the instruction sheet. And of course, you do get the G2 sticker sheet right here, guys. Now we move on to this guy. We're going to open the tray. Alright, and actually, before I even pop the figure out, let's take a look at the weapons. The weapons seem to look really good. Jeez, can't get it out. So now that I've carefully taken the weapons out, we can take a look at them. They look really nice, guys. The molding is nice and sharp. The paint apps are very well done. And we have the Little spiked wheels that go on his shoulder, also nicely molded and well done. Paint apps are nice and sharp, there's nothing messy there. And then of course we get the sword. Now of course I'm going to go ahead and compare the KO with the original. So the KO will be on the left here, the original on the right. Very close. It looks like the original has, and I got to be careful not to confuse these because I haven't really taken a look at them. The original seems to have longer crack lines right here, whatever you want to call them, from the swords hitting, I guess. These are a little shorter and not as sharp or thin as these. But other than that, the molding seems, pretty much identical, except for these tabs here. The original is a tad shorter than that, okay? But the quality is just as good in paint and feel as the original. Okay, so we're going to move on and check out this piece here, the guns. And again, I have to be very careful not to confuse these. The KO one actually, to me, looks better than the original, unless I just completely confuse the two in this very instant. But this is the original, this is the KO. The KO seems a little sharper, a little more detailed, a little bit better finished than the Takara, believe it or not. Alright, so we got that. We'll move on to this one here. This one, one doesn't really look better than the other, to be honest. Can't really find any big differences. It does seem to be a little sharp, more sharply molded on the Takara, but not by much. And I'm talking about these hoses here. Other than that, it's very sharp actually for a KO. Very well done. So not much difference there. And then of course the spikes here, which I would have to compare in robot mode since I don't have the original one out while I'm filming this. But we'll get into that later on. Okay, so now I can actually go ahead and take a look at the Lamborghini. Alright guys, so here's Lamborghini mode. This is of course the LP500S, which is one of my favorite Lamborghinis. And it's got a lot of fingerprints, so that's why it looks a little weird in some spots. But the paint is actually done very well, nice and glossy. And of course, black paint always shows marks a lot more than a regular color paint. So if you see scuff marks and everything, that's because it's black. But the paint is done rather nicely, I must say. And the figure obviously identical to the Takara one. And of course you can attach the weapons, which I will do here. See if I remember how to do this. This goes here like so. This folds back. And then this piece will go right to the top of the car. Looking for this little square up top, and then this gets pushed right in just like that. And if I'm not mistaken, you can actually also attach the sword using this peg here right into that little hole. And it's cool how there's actually 3 little squares, and they've worked one of those squares to be the actual hole to put this in. So let's see if that fits nicely, which it does. And it looks pretty killer. I'm usually not a big fan. I think I said it with the review of this, the original one. Not a big fan of weapons on top of cars because it's a little bit strange, especially something this big. But the weapon does look good with this car. I mean, it's a Lamborghini with a whole artillery thing here and a sword to top it all off. So I think it looks pretty cool. So I guess now what we can do is, first of all, take this off. And we're going to check out the articulation, which is the same as all of them. And I usually don't like to repeat transformations, but I feel I should, since this is a KO. You guys might want to see, how it transforms, even though it's identical. But you know what I'm talking about, the way it feels and everything like that. And yeah, so we'll get started. First we fold these wheels in here, pull this out, then bring this down. A little stiff here, which is good. I don't mind stiff joints. Just be careful not flexing something too much. If something's in the way, you don't want to break it. Bring it. Well, actually, you don't have to bring it down yet. But let's see. Bring this section up. Release the feet there. Separate. Oops. Gotta take the spoiler apart. Just like that. And these spoilers actually hold well. A lot of KOs in the beginning, the spoilers were a little weird. The spoiler on this actually holds really well. Okay, and And I just noticed, at least looking through the viewfinder, it is a little bit difficult to see detail on this figure since it's black with a black background. So I do apologize for that. And let's see, I'm sure I'm doing everything wrong since I tend to forget how to transform things very quickly. Bring these pieces down. Everything so far seems to be pretty tight. Nothing really loose so far. I know sometimes legs are loose on KOs as they are on originals, at least in my experience. This seems to be rather nice and stiff on these. Wow. Alright, let's get this piece in here in the hole. Right, I seem to have to pull out these little flaps a little harder. They don't seem to really line up. You got to kind of flex them out a little bit more than I've had to before, but they will stay in place. Crotch. Let's see where we're at right now. All right, the arms up here, and fold the spine. Then get the bumper back here. You do have to snap the spine in. Let me see if I can get better light here, guys. I'm sorry. You do have to snap the spine right in there. I try not to snap it too much because eventually that gets worn out, and I do plan to at least transform this many times since I'd rather do it with this than the original. But you can still not snap it and then get that little lip here, this thing, to go there. And normally I have another light that shines right on this, but my camera is out of battery, so it's plugged into the outlet where the light would go, guys. Alright, so the issue here, guys, is something that a couple people have brought up to me in the past, is that this piece will not snap into the bumper. I don't know if you can see, the hole there is rather small. And that doesn't mean it's the end of the world. You can still fix it. It just requires a little X-Acto knife and some patience. And I'm going to show you right now how to do it exactly. It's going to be a little difficult since I am filming. You kind of want to enlarge the hole, and you'll see I'm cutting, I don't know if you could see, but I'm cutting little slivers from the right to the left. And I think I probably should have done this off camera since I think I cut a little bit too much there. Right, but the main thing here is to just make the hole bigger. Just take your time. Don't be like me and try and rush it. I'm doing this for the video, guys. And yeah, just keep going little by little until you eventually, and I don't think this is enough, but till you eventually get the size that you need. Alright, so I took another minute with it, and I did get it to go in, and it's nice and secure. The key is take your time, don't make the hole too big, otherwise it's not going to hold well. And a lot of people might not be comfortable with this. I am a modeler, not a crazy modeler, but you know, I am pretty handy with the X-Acto knife. I do suggest being careful using these. It is very easy to have this go through your hand, as I have come to find out in my past experiences. Okay, so be very careful, or get an adult if you're a young kid. Just get an adult or somebody, or just don't buy KOs at all. I've only had this issue with this guy and one of the other KOs, but the rest of them were fine. So you may not have this same problem with your KO. Alright, so as we move along with the transformation, like I said, everything seems good so far. Nice and tight, nothing really loose. Even the spinning of this is really tight. There we go. Open up these door pieces here. Pop out the hands. Close it back up. Pop out the other hand. Close it. And almost getting there, guys. Close the head. And I'll be comparing the original with this in a second, but I didn't realize the head was painted. But look at this. It's nice and tight. I know this is loose on some of the KOs. This one, very nice and tight. It's going to stay where you put it. And the last bit is just folding in these windows here and folding them in correctly, like so. And then this just goes down here. Alright guys, so now it's time for comparison in robot mode. So I've already got the weapons attached to the G1. You guys know how that is if you watched my review for that. We're going to check it out on this KO. See how it holds up. So I'm going to put them on the same setup as the original back there. Just got to get all the weapons in here. Alright, that doesn't seem to be holding very firmly now. Let's try that again in the tab. Alright, seems like it tabs in, but it's not tabbing in with any friction. So the tab fits in there, just no friction. Let's try this guy. Alright, pretty much same thing. I mean, it's holding it. Not necessarily wobbly, but it doesn't actually tab in. It's the actual hand wrapped around that's holding it. Okay, and what else were we going to put? Oh, we got the swords. I forgot to show you the sword. We'll go ahead and show you the sword. See how he holds that. There you go. Holds the sword really well. I mean, why wouldn't you? It's just a simple handle. And alright, so back to this. One thing I wanted to show you is in the beginning I had mentioned the spiked wheels, how I was going to compare them in robot mode. They both look good. Not a big difference. Alright, actually the KO's done really well. The only thing is that they fall out very easily. So they actually don't wedge in. If we compare it to this guy, we can actually pick them up by the wheels there. So that's something that might annoy some people. And what else? Let's get up close to the original here. Now check out his mouth. You can see his mouth. He does have like teeth detail, like outlines of his teeth. Might be a little bit hard to see, but you can see that there's outlines. He doesn't actually have lines going up and down the mouth. It's just the surrounding area around the mouth gives the impression that there's teeth there. Right? Now if we grab the KO, it doesn't have that teeth kind of detail going on. Alright, there's a little black thing there. That's not an outline. That's actually, I don't know if it's just a piece of black paint, just a little flake there or something, or just a little defect in the teeth, but there's actually no tooth detail. So I don't know if that's a big deal to some of you guys, but figured you guys might want to know. Now since we are getting close to these, there's the Lamborghini logo. It's really just a dot with a line on top of it. But if you guys are familiar with Lamborghini logos, it still does look like a Lamborghini logo, but the Takara one is done much better. Even though it's still a dot, the dot has a tail on it, and it actually looks like there's letters on top, and the surrounding piece of the badge is a little more pronounced. You can actually see it's more of a shield than the other one. But you notice it still has all the lines and scratches that black paint would have. Same thing the KO does. And my fingerprints also. Now one thing I noticed, which could be easily taken care of with a Sharpie or just regular paint, is the little sprayed piece here. It's supposed to be all black. It looks like they missed the front there, but again, that's something really easy to fix. Alright guys, so that brings us to the end. Again, another nicely made KO. It's not perfect. It is a KO after all. But again, Takara is not perfect. But at least you guys can see them together, make your decision, or at least know what's out there, which one's fake, which one's real, so you don't get ripped off. Or you're just here maybe to see if it's worth buying this guy. Again, I collect KOs. I love them, which is why I have it. So I don't know, it's up to you guys really. The only really big thing that annoyed me is this flap here, which in the beginning I said it held fine, and it does. But you do have to mess with it a little bit because it's already tough as it is. I can't fit my fingers back there to push on it, so I have to flex it a lot to get it right into that hole. But other than that, and these things being loose, I think the figure is just as good as the Takara in quality, plastics, and whatnot. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And if you want to pick one of these guys up, I got mine at tfdirect.com. Got a bunch of cool stuff there, so check it out. And till next time, guys, bye-bye.